We are doing our week ahead readings with the Moonchild Tarot Deck. We're going to be looking ahead, so from November 17th to the 24th. Yeah, so I already picked the 2 cards, so we can just jump on in. If you are new and you don't know what this process is, I show the backs of each of the cards. These ones are reflective. Show the backs of each of the cards, and you can take a few breaths, tune in, see if you connect more or equally to card number 1 or card number 2. So I'm going to rotate a few times, and you can just throw in the chat if you feel drawn to one card more than the other. You can also share information that you glean from them, or any sensations, or how the knowing came through for you. These are all ways to experiment with and practice receiving through the different psychic clairs. And of course, if you are interested in developing your intuition more, card number 1, I have a workshop that I do on here once a month. I believe this month it's on the 26th, so a week from Wednesday. Card number 2. And I also have one-on-one consults and mentorships. So if you are interested in developing your skill set and working directly with me on it, then you can either book a 2-hour session or you can do the 4-month mentorship. So those details are on my website. Oh, April, no kidding. And welcome. Hello. All right. Card number 1. It's going to be the last time I show them, so please do pop in the chat with a 1 or a 2 or a both. Number 2. And the last 2 times I've gotten the nudge to do this as well. So I'm going to show both cards. So we have number 1, number 2. I'm seeing a stereo. It looks like a big 80s stereo with the big speakers in it. And I'm seeing like colorful musical notes coming out of it. So it looks half real, half cartoon. I know so I was just asking, we had for one of the readings last week a music challenge, which I ended up doing, well, challenge activity, which I posted each day on my channel because I ended up doing that. And I'm gonna post a summary and kind of reflection on that for last week. So I was just asking, like, is it related to that? And the answer that I got was no. So what are we're not necessarily doing anything with the music. We're feeling the music. Why? Is this more of like a dance thing, or just looking out for music or using it for healing purposes? Feels more meditative. So as an example, like for last week, the suggested practice for, I think it was reading number 2, was that each morning you'd wake up and you would just randomly select a song and listen to it, and that would set your intention for the day. Or just kind of give you something to think about or set the tone. But this feels very different in function because I just keep getting that's meditative. Does that mean it's just meditation music? For most people, yes. So what is the status of having a meditation practice? Yeah, it feels like it's a sound clearing. So depending on the person, the best way to clear your energy out isn't necessarily, crystal bowls and the sound of rain. Depending on you, depending on the day or the moment, The energy clearing may be best served with a ballad you can cry to, or something that is more animated and upbeat so that you can move and release the pent up energy. So it seems that this focus is on clearing stagnant energy. Is this another like daily music? No, doesn't have to be daily, can be if you want it to be. It's more about having a tool in your belt, remembering that this is a tool that is available to you if you're feeling some type of way, like, oh, I'm not feeling great, or I'm feeling tired, or I'm feeling stressed, knowing that you can engage with this to do the energy reset. It feels like when we're able to flush the stagnant energy out of our system, almost kind of perk up. Even if what we were listening to was sad and we were crying, it's like we get rebooted. We have a new sense of purpose and focus, and it's recharging our battery. I'm getting that the charge on that battery may not last super long, given everything that's going on and current responsibilities, but we can keep coming back to the well and keep reusing it, and it feels especially supportive for people this week. Wow. All right. Interesting. Okay. So we have the Ace of Wands. This might actually show up okay. Eh, yeah, because it's a slightly darker card. Ace of Wands. So whenever we have an ace card, this is the number one card, the first card. It is a initiating energy. It's the beginning of something. And for wands, wands is the fire equivalent sign in tarot. And it is about inspiration, passion. It's like drive. It's very sun and Mars energy if we are equating to astrology. So you can think of that like you're being propelled forward. It's less about, if it was Ace of Swords, it might be like having an aha moment because that's the mind. So it's not about, oh my gosh, I had this great idea, but you're feeling inspired and moving towards that. It's taking those first steps of inspired action. I think this is interesting with the reading that we got because we were talking about what our energy was doing, which does feel very wands. And we're getting this tool that we can use to help kickstart and reboot us. And rebooting is like, okay, that's like one ace energy of, okay, let's like start over. Let's start over because we need to reset and we want to start something. We want to begin something and we want to move forward, but we keep getting stuck because of our previous chapters. How it's coming across, like the things we've been dealing with and things we have to shed and things we're still carrying. And so the reset, the energetic ones clearing, allows us to then have the spark. So essentially you could view this as like, it's a moon, but as if it's the light around it, as if this is on fire. This is a seed of invention that has the potential to bloom into something great and highlights breakthroughs in consciousness that elevate your spirit. Again, I think that that checks out with the fact that we are clearing our energy so that we can perk up again, like that elevating your spirit. It's like when people are floating in the Dead Sea, like the, oh my gosh, sensory deprivation. I'm just seeing like a figure floating on the water, so it's feeling weightless, but the water's dark, not murky, just dark. It's not like we're floating on a cloud. So there's a different quality to it rather than just really simple, straightforward. We're feeling some levity this week. Not really. There's an undertone here of we're floating, but what's beneath us is heavy. The particular area of life varies by person. Definitely some sort of historical basis. It almost feels like, even though it's water, that it is a foundation. There's depth to it. It's become blackened. We don't have to be floating on something that is a black water, but that's what it looks like. And I'm just seeing it's as if some stuff has been pumped into it, and that's why it's black. Not commentary on the environment. Again, this is metaphor. This is about things in your past, in your history, in your wounding, in your shadow. It's almost like it's blackened because it's our shadow that's been like holding us up in a way to protect us and carry us so that we're not sinking and being swallowed by it. Wow, this is very deep and poetic. But normally, when we think about shadow work, we're trying to heal it, embrace it, tend to it, encourage it to dissipate. But in this situation, if we encourage it to dissipate, then we could just sink into the water. And again, in this situation, it's serving a specific function. It's great to be aware that a shadow is present, but that's as far as the work on that front needs to go. So it's more about the acknowledgement, becoming aware of like, what is the shadow that you have, that you carry, that is protecting you right now, that is allowing you to stay afloat just barely. Not even just based on the present, but based on your full life's history. It's coming to a head now. Like it is most useful right now in supporting you. But it's based on the full history. It's not just popping up in this moment. Be aware that you're being held, that you're being held by a part of yourself. Understand what that part is. And it's not even like say thank you. It's just see it. Just be able to see it, recognize it, and then business as usual. Keep going, keep floating, keep staying on the surface. It's almost like a trusting that you have your own back, because you do. There's a part of yourself that is keeping you afloat. Time for recognition. Sure. When's the Kazemi Day? 20th. There we go. That feels like the day to recognize what it is. So that's the 20th or 23 a.m. Eastern time. So depending on your time zone, late the 19th or early or regular day the 20th. When we start struggling or panicking, we're disrupting the surface of the water and then we could fall in. So the work of this week is to try to stay as calm and neutral as possible. Okay, so we have 7 of Cups. I think it's funny because I was getting earlier, I was asking about like variety. That's kind of one of the messages that comes through with this card. So as you can see, each of these cups has something different coming out of it or tucked inside. So there's a bit of a like abundance or receiving, and then the variety piece of different options, different considerations. Do I do this? Do I do that? We're talking about sevens. Sevens are like a reflection. So this is like taking inventory in some ways. And then cups are about emotions, intuition, relationships, creativity as well. So it does feel like this is most specifically on the emotional side. Obviously, we do have some of a intuitive / spiritual component with the shadow work, but it does feel like this water is representing, again, that's also perfect too, because the water is the element for cups, but that being the through line. Seven of Cups presents us with various choices. In each one, we see a potential gift appearing innocent and fruitful, but do not be fooled by their lovely exteriors. For each cup may represent a greater price, a missed opportunity, or a grand illusion. How can we reflect on their deeper implications and select for our highest good? So, in some ways, similar to how I was already explaining it, but what I like about this and the language that was used does very much ring true with the fact that we are in a Mercury retrograde, and it's very Neptune and Pisces energy. For those of you who've been following along with my astrology transit classes, I put a video about that. I'm wondering if we have an aspect that is happening. Yes, we do. Of course we do. Oh, of course there's three. So this week, there are three aspects happening with Neptune and Pisces. So I think this is answering that question. So we have, I won't be talking about these in our transit class. So just the quick overview. We have on the 19th, Mercury, what I was just talking about, trining Neptune in Pisces. That is definitely a sense of delusion and choice and what is true. So trines are normally supportive, but you have two retrograde planets and one that's in some ways a malefic planet. So what is our actual perception? Being very cautious on that 19th. Of course, on the 20th, we do have the Mercury Cazimi, so that could clear things up. On the 20th, we then have Uranus sextiling Neptune in Pisces. So we have like the 19th, 20th, and 21st. We have different aspects that are happening to Neptune. So it keeps getting engaged over and over again of like, what is real about this? We're questioning. So with Uranus, it's about change. So then we're questioning what is actually working with change or not, or should we change or not? And then we have the Sun in Scorpio on the 21st trining, and that is about our life force, our energy, our ego. So yeah, this makes sense that we are having so much Neptune activation going on this week. Normally a shadow we might perceive as something that is quote unquote negative or harmful to us in some capacity. But in this situation and this week, what this shadow is doing is helping and protecting us. So we are having things turned a little bit on their head this week in how we are perceiving and understanding them. Reading number one, we had a boombox, 80s boombox with the sound bumping. And what we are focusing on this week is clearing stagnant energy. And this was coming across as leveraging music, whether meditation music, ballads specifically for crying, or upbeat music to shake or move, to clear it from our body in a way that is ad hoc. This doesn't have to be a daily practice. It's just whenever we're feeling that we need to clear energy out because we are stressed or exhausted or in a bad mood or antsy. And the card that we got was the Ace of Wands. This is capturing the inspired action, a beginning energy. So every time we are clearing our energy, we are doing a reset so we can return to being inspired, called forth to start this new chapter and journey. We're just being bogged down. We are floating in what looks like the Dead Sea. It's black water. We are floating across the surface. And the reason we are floating is because what is below us is heavier. It's more weighted. And it was coming across that the reason it's black is because our shadow has been pumped into it. So it is carrying the energy, the experiences of our lives, our personal history, and our shadows, what needs to be healed. However, this week we are only recognizing, and it came through on the Kazemi Day, which Eastern time is on the 20th. On the Kazemi Day, we will see the shadow for what it is. We're just identifying. So what's the specific shadow that is working to actually protect me, to keep me afloat this week? It doesn't mean that we won't need to heal it some months, years down the road, but today it is being helpful. It is supporting us and keeping us afloat. And second to that, what's very important is that we remain neutral to whatever is going on so that we can stay calm. Because if we start flailing on the surface, we will break that balance, the equilibrium, and then the shadow doing its work to support us will be moot because we'll just sink down into the water and we want to stay afloat. Now, the card that we had was the Seven of Cups. And the Seven of Cups is about variety, choice, option. So each of these cups contains something different that we may choose from. And we have those little rainbows here. So we have this reminder that, yay, we have opportunities. We have things that we can choose. How wonderful. However, not everything is as it seems. So we have this experience this week of one, things being turned on their head. Oh, well, isn't the shadow bad? Well, it's helping us this week. How interesting. Why is that? Not supposed to think about it. Just allow it to happen. Mind over matter in how we are remaining neutral to whatever the things are that are coming up. Not really engaging with them and just trying to float through all of this energy. And I had mentioned when I was doing the deep dive reading that it felt like Neptune energy. So I looked up very quickly the astrology, and we have 3 aspects that are happening this week, the 19th, 20th, and 21st. So Neptune, which is currently retrograde, which deals with our perception, it deals with delusion. It is being activated by Mercury, which is also retrograde and focused on our minds, our mind and our sense of reality. I think that that's probably going to be the big one. So that's on the 19th. And then on the 20th, it is engaging with Uranus, which is also retrograde, and it is about change. And then on the 21st, it will be activated by the sun in Scorpio. So we have back to back to back days where what we're thinking about, how we're thinking about it, what we're perceiving as true, what we're perceiving as good and bad is being flipped around all over the place, and we are being asked to remain neutral so that we may float on the surface and try to coast through this week and get to the other side and go from there. For the first reading, what we were discussing was the fact that we need to clear this stagnant energy out because we may be feeling heaviness. And I think that's fascinating because in the second reading, we were floating above things that are heavy. So there was this dynamic in both readings about our relationship with what is weighty. And in the first reading, we are choosing to take a specific ad hoc action to clear the energy out, and specifically with using different types of music for different functions and purposes. And we're just cycling the energy out over and over and over again as a way of almost like the second reading where we're trying to stay afloat. But we're doing this to keep clearing, to keep connecting to our sense of inspiration and to stay uplifted. Whereas in the second reading, we do have, again, a connection to weightiness, but we're supposed to be neutral, where a lot of things are coming in and we're being activated, and we just are like, okay, I'm trying hard to just not do anything. I'm trying to see it. I'm trying to acknowledge it. And I'm just going to focus on staying floating. Just float, 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 float. So I think that relationship is pretty fascinating because there is a parallel and we have different avenues. So of course this is active and this is active internally, but it appears as inactive to others because it looks like you're just floating. But you are working really hard to stay neutral, to not flail on the surface. And this feels like this is a medicine. So for the second reading, it was like, oh, our shadow is beneath us. And I keep thinking of this, but in one of my other decks, the shadow card, the mantra on it is saying that there's medicine in the shadow. And I find that interesting, given that this first reading feels like we're using the music as a form of medicine for healing. So it's almost like it's getting splintered. And I'm wondering if we have people that could be doing both of these at the same time, because in some ways they feel like they fit neatly within each other. Because we have some areas where it's weight, like if this is the weight of your history and the shadows that you are recognizing but leaving, and then you have the band-aid of like what's coming up for you. You're just doing this in private, you're doing this quietly to yourself, so then when you're out in the world, people still feel like you look like you're just floating, but in order to stay afloat, that you are doing the energy clearing, you're not actually tending to whatever the shadow is. You're not taking any of the perceived opportunities, because it might not be opportunities. It might be something that is detrimental. You very easily could be doing both of these, and it may just be based on specifically what's in your shadow. That's how it's coming through for me. So whatever the lesson is of your shadow, you may find that it makes sense to do this. And again, this feels like it's just, it keeps coming across like it's a Band-Aid. It's a Band-Aid just to like keep you going, to keep you we're not even moving forward that much because this is an ace. We're right at the beginning, but we just keep having the reset, and we need the reset in order to keep going. And in this situation, it's so we can keep floating across the water without sinking. You'll know you're just in the first one if you don't have a situation where you feel like anything is bubbling beneath the surface, that you're not feeling quote unquote haunted by anything in your past or any fears or things that are coming up. This card is just representing this experience of I just have to clear energy out because I'm stressed, because I'm tired, because I'm overwhelmed, because I feel like I'm in a bad mood. So if you're just in this reading, it's more surface level because you're not paying attention, or you're not aware of, or it's not obvious, or it's not present that there is anything below the surface, or that you're even on a surface. You're just there. You're just living your life, and this is a tool you can use. Now, if you're only in the second reading, the only tool that we are using in this reading is our resilience. We're just going inward. We are finding that strength to remain neutral, to remain calm and centered. Otherwise, they will just float together, and you use the tool in number one to support with number two. And it will be pretty apparent that both are intermingling because you will have a lot emotionally cups coming up for you. And in order to not be stagnant, to not be stuck, you lean into that fire energy and you are allowing yourself to continue to be reborn by doing the energetic clearing to support staying neutral. Yada, yada, yada.